Hey there guys, today we're taking a look at Dishonored Death of the Outsider, which is a standalone expansion to Dishonored 2 that I've actually recently been looking to start playing by myself, so I was interested to try it out on the 5500U just to see how it would perform. And I was kind of surprised actually, because we played the original Dishonored on this system and it was running beautifully with maximum graphics settings without much tweaking needing to be done at all. It ran absolutely beautifully, but this game built off of the Dishonored 2 engine really seems to be a lot more demanding than the original game itself. This here is running with the lowest in-game graphics settings, and we do have dynamic resolution scaling enabled with a target of 60 FPS, and it's set to the performance preset since you can actually set how low the dynamic resolution scaling can actually go to. And if you set it to the performance mode, it will go down to as low as 50% resolution. And as you can tell by the FPS that we're getting here, we're pretty much at that resolution quality at all times, because even with the settings this low, we're not hitting a consistent 60 FPS. Now this is running at the stock 15 watt TDP, and as you can see, the level of performance that we're getting is at least at a playable range, especially since the 1% lows are at least above 30, but we are not hitting the FPS target that we were hoping to reach, which is at least 60 FPS. And that's pretty much letting us know that this is a pretty demanding game in comparison to the original game. Even the definitive edition was not this demanding, so it's definitely surprising to see. In general, it's still playable like this. If you're on a system that cannot have the TDP adjusted, you are still going to be able to play this. It's just not exactly going to be the greatest experience, especially if you played the original game on here and you're used to just playing it at the maximum graphics settings. Here you have to sacrifice a lot more in comparison. So it was definitely surprising to me how demanding this is, and I'm gonna have to take a look at Dishonored 2 actually running on here. The only reason I went with this one is because I've actually been playing this on my own PC, so I was curious to see how it runs on here. Personally, I am a pretty big fan of this game itself. It was very enjoyable to play. I'm still currently working my way through it on my own PC, but I decided again just give it a go on here just to see what it was like. I was genuinely expecting it to perform much better than this, but it was a bit surprising. Of course, raising the TDP is more than likely the way to go here, because by doing so, we're pretty much getting far closer to a 60 FPS average, but we aren't exactly hitting that yet. So at the end of the day, we aren't exactly benefiting from a higher quality in terms of the resolution. Since we're still not hitting 60, it means that the dynamic resolution scaling is pretty much going to have to stick at 50% most of the time, but it does at least feel very nice to play. Though it wasn't a massive boost in 1% lows or anything like that, at least the averages are getting pretty close to 60, and a lot of the times we do actually have the FPS staying at 60. Now, because dynamic resolution scaling is enabled, it's not going to go past 60, but that's perfectly fine. If our averages and 1% lows aren't really reaching that level anyway, having the game locked at 60 is not going to be a bad move whatsoever, especially because the dynamic resolution scaling is necessary to actually get this to play on here. So keep that in mind. Again, you're still not going to be hitting a consistent 60 FPS the whole time, but it is close enough to it, and you will have areas where you will actually be at 60. So at least at some moments the resolution should improve, and in general it should just be a better experience than the stock 15 watt TDP. Now it's playable with both TDP settings, but again, both are remarkably demanding. I thought that the 25 watt TDP was actually going to get us a rock solid 60 at least, with 1% lows dipping below that, but in general that is just not the level of performance that we're getting out of this. And like I said, still completely playable. You might just be a little disappointed after playing the original game on this system and getting really great performance. But of course, this game did come out around 5 years after the original one released, so I guess it makes sense that there is going to be more demanding aspects to it in comparison to the original game. Still, I would definitely recommend giving it a go because it is a very enjoyable game, and it is still pretty playable like this, especially if you just want to drop things down to a target FPS of 30, then the resolution will bump up and you're going to get a rock solid experience, especially if you're just stuck at the 15 watt TDP. It's definitely something to keep in mind. But anyways, if you found this look at Dishonored Death of the Outsider to be useful, interesting, or entertaining, be sure to subscribe. I appreciate you watching. As always, memberships are enabled on the channel. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month, and that would be greatly appreciated. Check out the Amazon affiliate links down below, as that helps to support the channel at no extra cost to you. I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next one.